So this is an important point. What if I don't have a name or I need a new one? If you've got a new business and you want to try and find a name, how do you do that? Well, this is the thing that you want to write down about getting a name. The thing about naming a business, it will always sound bad when you first do it. It will always sound ridiculous, because when you first start a business, obviously there's no history behind it. So whatever name you say, it's always going to sound weird. It's never going to work. But the fact is, the name itself doesn't make any difference. It doesn't matter. The most important thing is these 3 tick boxes that you have to tick. Can I legally protect and own this name? That's the most important thing. Can I get a good domain name? Obviously, a .com is the holy grail, but it's very difficult to get a .com. I'm going to talk a little bit about that afterwards. And the other thing is, does a Google search bring up anything similar? So what you want to do is you make a massive list of names, and these are some of the ways you can get those names. You go to Wikipedia, you look at historical references or geographical references to whatever your business is. Maybe there's some street names, maybe there's some history there that you can delve into, and you'll find little bits of little gems of information that you can maybe make as a name. So you add those to the list. Google Translate is a fantastic resource. What is the same word? What is one of the motions in Spanish or in French or in Latin? Those can give you different names. There's the thesaurus. Take one of your emotions, take one of the names that you've thought of, look at the thesaurus, find extra names, look at the thesaurus of those extra names. And then, importantly, get some feedback on Facebook. Put it out to people. What you'll find is that big list of names becomes much, much smaller. So from the list of the names, this is the most important thing to do. You want to make sure that you can protect that name. So the only way legally to do that is to go to this website, and I'd urge you all to write down this domain name, because if you've got a business name, you might find that you're accidentally infringing on someone else's trademark, infringing on someone else's copyright, and infringing on their own trademark. So the most important thing, even if you don't want to buy your own trademark, which is actually, I advise everyone to do that, even if you don't want to do that and pay that money, I would advise you to at least check that you're not infringing on someone else's, because I've seen people get sued for this. I've seen people not realize they think they've got a good name. They go out there, they start making some money, and when you start making some money, then people start taking notice of you, and you'll find that someone, hello, you're infringing on my trademark. And I've seen people get sued for tens of thousands of pounds. So the most important thing is that you don't infringe. That's the first tick from your list, big long list of names. Make sure that you can own it. If you can't own it, just scratch it off. The second thing is about the domain names. You need to get a good domain name. Now, it doesn't have to be a .com. If you want to get a .com, you can, but you're going to have to basically make up a word that doesn't exist to get it, because there's no words left. Any word that you can think of, quite a lot of them, even if they sound like they're a word but they're not a word, you'll find that the .com has gone. So to get a .com, you're going to have to really think way outside the box and just try and think of something. I don't know this, but I'm just sort of guessing. I think maybe Trivago was one of those words. It was just a cool sounding name, and they could get the .com, and then they made something out of it. But it doesn't have to be .com. All of these are different extensions. You might not be able to read this, but you've got things like .fishing, .fashion, .events, .surgery, .team. So why not make a brand that encompasses one of these words? Because I've done this. I worked with, I developed this brand for this girl called Esther Agnew. She's a professional ladies footballer. She plays for Barnet. And she started her own fitness brand. And her name was Esther Agnew. And obviously you can't get agnew.com, but you can get agnew.life. And now this is a beautiful brand because it sounds like a new life. So why not make the brand and the domain name one and the same. Now this, at the moment, I haven't seen any big brands out there that have done that. But I think it's an incredible opportunity. And when someone does do that, when someone finally does break in to the market and everyone starts looking at that and saying, oh, they haven't got a .com, they've got .life, or they've got .fishing, or something else, then everyone will start doing it. So my advice would be to do it now. Find a domain name now, because look at how clean and small that email address is. It's certainly a lot better than mine, dave@freelancegraphicdesigner.co.uk. It goes on for ages. But this one is just like 7, 8 letters. And the most important thing about naming is that your opinion is only one opinion. Okay, so don't get emotionally attached to any of your names. Submit it to a public vote. Take your list of names that you know that you can get you can get a good domain name, you can get a protection on it, you can own it, and nothing else on a Google search comes up with the same. Your list of 100 names will get down to about 10. Don't even decide then what your name is. Put it to a public vote. Let your audience decide what that name is. And then when you've got that name, then you can start to build a business. And you can start to build an asset. If you've got a registered trademark, that becomes an asset of the business then. When you start putting money through that, when you start putting growing your business and clients start to trust that name, that is an asset. That is an asset that keeps going up in value. As you've seen by the thing with Innocent Smoothies, that asset can be worth hundreds of millions of pounds, even if you don't necessarily have a massive business behind it. The name itself can be the real value.